This call is being recorded.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, John?
Conference locked.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, are you ready for the call today?
I'm ready. You have a lot of echo.
Let me see. Okay, so does this work better now?
A little bit, yeah.
All right. I don't know what's wrong because I'm using my headphones and sitting in a quiet place. Let me
That's
just
okay.
see if I can. Yeah, you were saying something, John?
No, it's okay. We can give it a shot. It's not like it's not clear. It's clear. It's just a little echoey.
Oh, all right. I'll see how I can improve that. I'll just mess around with the settings a bit. All right, so I was unable to open the document that you sent to me. It had restricted access. So
Okay.
would you be able to share a Word document with me right now?
No, actually, I left the office already. I'm calling from my car parked.
All
But
right.
you know what? It's not a lot of strike that you told me to put in red. I can walk you through. It's not a lot. I don't know what
All
happened
right.
to the file. Yeah. So maybe
All
we can
right.
cover that first real quick. So it's not a lot. So from the
Mm-hmm.
page one, the first one, I read the human capital transformation. I'm not sure what that really means.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
that wouldn't apply to you.
Yeah, but I'm not even sure what it means. So unless it's
It's more of like, so capital transformation would be making effective use of your resources, and human capital transformation would be more like making effective use of the workforce that you have essentially, right?
okay.
Putting them to the
In that case,
best. Yeah.
yeah. In that case, yes. I mean, if it's
All
about
right.
maintaining the usage of the resources, of course, I just never termed it that way.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
because see, it's essentially based on the most important assets that a service company has, which is its employees, right? So how you
Right.
manage those, the management strategy, the capital
Right.
development of those particular assets, that's human
Okay.
capital transformation, right?
Okay,
So
that's fine.
I was
Yeah.
thinking, John, yeah, sorry to cut you in the middle, but this part where I asked about the keywords, this you can send me later because that's just factual information that I need to know to make your resume more focused towards the positions that you want to go for. All right.
Right. That's
So you
fine.
can just resend the list back to me. Let's just focus the call more on the accomplishments because you do have like a really strong career background. So I want to make sure
Yeah.
that I make most of the time in asking you the right questions. So one thing that I noticed was that there were a couple of different positions. So I understand that you oversee the product development life cycle right from the beginning till the customer support and after as well. All right. So
Right.
you sent me a couple of different positions. Some of them were core software development. Others were more, improving customer engagement and account management related, driving customer success and service delivery that in that matter. So I would like to know more about how you want me to go about this. What
Okay.
would you like to prioritize? What are your goals at the moment so I can better frame the whole thing?
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So my sweet spot, right, would be a blend between engineering, software engineering,
Mhm.
and customer facing. So
All right.
I'm one of those guys that I'm lucky enough to have been head of professional services for total about 16 years, and I enjoy
Mhm.
working with the customers, understanding problems, helping sales, acting as a technical
Mhm.
business developer, and at the same time, managing team as such, but also can take those things and translate to engineering terms, talk software, manage the software development, product development, and being the innovator, disruptor. And my core strength really is, if you look at it, I'll just give you a couple of sentences, which I feel that's where I shine the most. If it looks at from a software or a slash product standpoint, I am one of those who, think long term. I feel that I have the ability to look around the corner and plan accordingly and strategize product. And it may be disruptive, it may be challenging status quos, those kind of things, but where I really bring value, where a company has a product or sets of product, or where they are in their life and they want to take it to the next level. I am those who can take them there, provided they're willing to take the risk, willing to make changes and stuff like that. So I'm an agent of change in that sense. The other side of the coin is I speak well with customer. I enjoy that. I've been doing that all my life. Customer facing. I deal with all levels of customers. I accompany sales. I accompany business developers, C-levels, literally all across the board. Being able to merge not only understanding the market, but also helping in providing clarity to products and finding gaps where I bring back custom projects to fill in the holes, and I've been doing that for a long time. So that's where I find myself at a sweet spot.
Right. So you would be A, leading innovation and transformation, B, driving customer value as well as business value, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And of course, software engineering, I've been doing that for a long time, where when I consider more of a product development, but in of itself, it's also because I've been a coder for a long time myself, so I understand software engineering firsthand. Although I don't code anymore, or I don't want to, but I still have a good in-depth understanding of software architecture, and actually coding as well.
The basics. All right. And one more thing that I wanted to clarify with you, John, was that your previous experiences, let me just quickly open the resume. So the experiences that go back from 2007 onwards, I wouldn't suggest including those because they go way back in time. And if you really want to show that you do have that experience, we could just, put in that you worked as a, for example, head of a professional services organization from 1999 to 2007, and then so on and so forth. Right. How about that? Because your most recent experiences are the most relevant ones. So we gotta focus on those.
Right. The only thing is that the more recent one is in a more of a smaller company, so the scope of things may seem a little less. So I don't want it to look less. But I think you can try what you feel makes more sense. At the end of the day, I need calls.
Right? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. No, we'll be digging up specific accomplishments and challenges that you have faced to show how you have been able to add value and take these companies to the next level, be it small or be it, really big. So that will be digging into. But before that, I just wanted to clarify. So I will be mentioning that you have worked at these particular positions and at these companies, but I'll just be summarizing that. No additional information because again they go way back in time.
Okay.
All right. So for the employer, these wouldn't have much value even if we put it there.
Okay.
All right. So let's see how this turns out, and then if you have any concerns, if you want me to go forward and put some information, we can always do that later. All right.
Yeah, I would rather have you initiate what you think is best and go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would give you a resume version that would have my strategy, and if you have any suggestions, once you
Yeah, we
review
can.
that, you can always,
Yeah.
go through the edits and everything. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
VP
sounds good.
Software Engineering, you are currently a VP Software Engineering at Transit.
That's correct.
Tell me about this company. How big is this company? The scope of operations? And you mentioned that you are responsible for the direction and software development of the restaurant solutions division. So tell me about the scope of your day-to-day operations, your day-to-day responsibilities. How many people do you oversee? Just an overall overview of your responsibilities, essentially.
Okay, that's fine. So this company is a 20 plus years old company,
Mm-hmm.
and they started out with a hardware as a company where their core product is the printing, a print head,
Mm-hmm.
right? Print mechanism. And they have large market. They are into oil industry. They're into casinos and a bunch of other stuff. Several years
All
back,
right.
they got themselves into figuring out how to sell these labels into other areas, and they, started things started falling place to find out that in restaurants, in the world of restaurants, you print a lot of labels. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have ingredients, you have FDA labels, there's a bunch of things that people print, grab and go. When you go buy some sandwiches, there's printers and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to get into that market, but they need to be able to. But these markets are not like casino where they have casino machine where you can just sell in the printers and they retrofit it in and stuff like that. So they have to come
Mm-hmm.
up with a full solution. They have to come up with a full solution. So they came up with something that is like a small terminal where it has a screen, and then these two printers are fitted in there, where then you can have a program that runs label printing. And then
Mm-hmm.
they started getting good traction. They got good customers like 7-Eleven, McDonald's are their customers, and
All right.
and then they evolved that product, and then it became the next version. The first version was sort of like a firmware type thing. The second version is based on Linux, and then finally,
Mm-hmm.
as the market is going, the third version they created as an Android-based terminal, right?
All right.
So they're getting good traction, and they wanted to expand on this restaurant solution division,
Hmm.
and they brought me in, right, 2 years ago to basically head
For the
this division.
expansion.
Yeah, because
All
that's
right.
where the field is. They want to grow this while they continue their other business, and so I came in a couple of years back, and then I started to look at the product, look at what they're doing, work with sales and understanding the market a little bit, and then I realized
Hmm.
that what they were selling is inadequate. Basically, what they're selling is an Android, a poor version of Android, and a good tablet,
Hmm.
a good printer. But there was a conflicting in the sense that sales are not sure what they're selling. Are they selling an Android, or they're selling a sort of a single purpose machine that happens to print our stuff? So
All right.
in that, but after I joined the company, literally about like 2 weeks, I made a huge directional change and said, we're going to change this. If you want to sell this, we're going to
Hmm.
convert this whole terminal into kiosk. We don't want to sell
Hmm.
Android. Android can be an underlying operating systems. Who cares? What they're
Hmm.
buying is a single purpose machine that does printing, and you sell that, not Android. And so I did a lot of due diligences looking into the market and found a company called 42 Gears, which then I
Hmm.
partnered with, created a technology partnership with them, and brought their technology into our product and converted that whole system into a kiosk. And that's when we converted that into what you call an XL2E. And that got a lot of
Hmm.
traction because now it's turning the table from a hardware company into a more software centric company, right? And
Hmm.
now,
Hmm.
so that's what I brought to the company. And then after we did that for a year, we realized this is even better, and they started looking at other partners. And now, with other partners involved, we decided that, okay, we are going to have a full end-to-end solution from our suites where nobody else is doing, where, it's not just label printing, but it's also checklist, temperature measurements, all that kind of thing, all in one terminal. So
All right.
it's now sort of I help the company reinvent itself to become more of a enterprise software-centric solution
Support the
provider.
solution, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
So then I worked with the partner company where they're based in Beirut, and I traveled there a couple of times, and I helped redesign a new product, work with our product management, marketing and sales, to come up with the requirements and all of that. And then I drove the design of the product and the architecture of the product with those engineers. And we just recently launched what we call now a BOHA suite of
All right.
products. If you click on the link of my company, you probably find a lot more of that. So I was key player, key instrumental in getting that out as well.
All right. And that changed the face of the whole thing, right? That
Yes,
would be
basically
leading to
now,
digital transformation.
yes, so basically we are now becoming more, at least from the restaurant solution standpoint, we are now more considered of a software provider, software solution rather than a hardware. We just happen to sell the hardware too. So it's a change in direction, change in focus, and that I think has opened up a lot of doors with our partnerships and the new product which just launched. We have a great pipeline ahead. So.
And you mentioned that this is a very new solution in the industry as well. I mean, this is one of the new innovations.
We have competitors all over, but the competitors usually provide one or two of the vertical solutions, versus us, we provide the entire breadth of it. So the entire horizontal solution, all vertical, all in one vendor.
What would this comprise of? So you mentioned that this would not only have the hardware, this would not only have the basic components that you offered before. What new are you offering in this suite of products?
So it's basically software, right? So software to be able to print label, of course, software to be able to keep track of inventory, software to be able to do sensing of temperatures like tomatoes and apples and things like that. It all feeds into the system. You're able to do checklists, be able to do timers, all kind of things that a typical restaurant is run and needs for these. So we have literally end-to-end
restaurant
solution.
Operations. All right. And so this was done with the partnership, right? This was done with the new partner that you outsourced the whole thing, but you oversaw all the design, development, and delivery of this new suite of product. On the technology level, John, I would like to know that if this is also kind of like cloud-based, or a better version of the Android only.
No, they are both. It's a full enterprise. So there are apps that runs on the terminal, on handhelds, on tablets and phones, and there is an enterprise, a web-based portal, right? And everything sits on top of cloud. So there's cloud.
Because one of the key requirements was developing and maintaining a portfolio of cloud-based SaaS products, right? So this could go in that, right?
Yeah, it is a cloud-based multi-tenant SaaS.
All right, that's a good example. So you mentioned that this opened up like a lot of new doors, right? And I understand that the product has just been launched. I mean, it's a new product, but I would love to know about the impact that it has been able to make up till now, and the pipelines that you were telling me about. What do you envision for the future, and what you have already achieved in terms of quantified, solid business impact?
Right. So I
The
think
before and
we are
after
gaining.
picture.
Right. I think we are gaining momentum. We are gaining interest in the market with big players because the trend in the market is that, people want to not deal with 7 different vendors. I'll buy label printing from this company. I'll buy sensor from this company. I'll buy inventory management from this company. But now they have to deal with one single company, and it's all in-house. We are not like, sort of just a middleman. We own the product, right? So now that fits what market is looking for in terms of single vendor solution. So that is provided by us, and that makes it easier. Right. So it's easier to get in the door because they have to deal with one company. And a lot of companies, there's a lot of overhead and cost in dealing with multiple vendors, right? And then after that, with different vendors, how do you integrate? There's a lot of after the fact expenses in order for things to work together. All that goes away with a single solution provider. So we gain momentum with big companies, I'm not sure I can legally mention all of them yet, but like A&W, we have a bunch of others that are large corporations.
All right, all right, that brought new ventures, that brought new partnerships. But in terms of monetary business value, do you have a number to share? Additional revenue generation, additional profits, for instance, that you were able to make because of this?
Make what, sorry?
I said additional profits or revenue that you were able to kind of like secure because of this new product launch?
One of the thing about this company, it's a public company and a small company, and that's one of the things that they don't like to share too much, unless it's already publicly made. Otherwise, it's sort of an insider information.
I understand.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, in terms of the challenges that you faced, John, while you were working on the design development and execution and delivery of these suites of products, you mentioned that you worked with the team in Beirut. So this would be like working with an international team, right? Working
Yes.
in different time zones, etc. And with respect to the core product development, to resolving product flaws, to the core project execution, what kind of challenges did you have to face, and what kind of challenges did you overcome to ensure a successful launch?
Right. So, with a small company, the lack of sufficient resources inside, we didn't have, say, a project manager. So I have to double up to play that role as well, kind of do the project or the program management of the thing. And one of the things, if you look at my resume, I'm one of those that, every company that I walk into, I usually don't have experience in that industry. And